Here, the Home Secretary has announced a major crackdown on protesters who she says hold the public to ransom. Suella Braverman said she'll give police new powers to target tactics used by some environmental groups who've caused disruption to commuters and traffic, including today in central London. Harry Fawcett reports.
On the day the Home Secretary unveiled plans for toughened anti-protest legislation, this the response from Just Stop Oil activists. Police arrived within minutes. One protester challenged by a passerby.
It have made our actions more and more criminal. The Home Secretary has just today announced further plans to crack down on our activism.
There have been more than 350 arrests of Just Stop Oil activists in London since the start of the month. The planned legislation would allow injunctions to prevent protests that threaten serious disruption or a serious adverse impact on safety. Suella Braverman says authorities need to be more proactive, that this serious and dangerous disruption, let alone the vandalism, is not a freedom of expression nor a human right. It must stop. Through central London today, climate activists from Extinction Rebellion took to the streets. A pre-arranged route agreed with police. Its members say the real crime would be to do nothing about the threat of climate change.
The actions of our government are disruptive and selfish, and they are risking the lives of the population that they are elected to serve.
At several points, the march crossed roads. Traffic stopped each time for about 10 minutes.
It's really important that people can, especially in these times, that people can protest and people have their say.
That needs to be stopped. I think the government needs to introduce firm action to stop that sort of activity.
This is explicitly not the kind of protest that will be affected by the proposed new legislation. But these activists say that it is the more disruptive, more direct acts that get the most attention, that are most effective. And they're vowing that they will continue, come what may. On Monday, the argument will move inside Parliament when the Public Order Bill returns to the Commons. Harry Fawcett, ITV News.
Transport for London is seeking an injunction to ban environmental group Just Stop Oil from demonstrating on the roads. It comes as the Home Secretary unveiled plans for a crackdown on disruptive protests, while earlier activists marched to Westminster, as Jim Reevell reports.
The messages on the placards were clear and familiar, as were the thoughts on people's minds.
We're destroying the things that are most important to us: the oceans, rainforests, things that are fundamental to us.
But the methods used to deliver these messages are often more controversial than today's Extinction Rebellion march to Parliament Square. So while we've been on the march, Just Stop Oil have just chucked yellow paint over this Aston Martin dealership in central London. Let's go and find out what people on the march think of that. What do you think about this? Do you think that's okay? There's just some yellow paint chucked on.
I think it's more okay than allowing millions of people in Pakistan to die of flooding when they're not the ones that caused the problem.
It washes off easy, doesn't it?
Well, I wouldn't do that kind of thing, but I can also understand the anger that a lot of people have at the moment.
This weekend, the Home Secretary revealed plans to stop protesters causing serious disruptions. She said it wouldn't be tolerated, unlike this, of course, an organised protest. She also said she'd put a stop to demonstrators holding the public to ransom. She also described this protest in Knightsbridge this week as indefensible. Protesters say the fire engine was allowed to pass. The Public Order Bill, which will be put to MPs next week, will allow for more injunctions in the public interest when protest threatens serious disruption. There'll be up to 6-month sentences for locking on when protesters glue themselves to objects, and police will be given new powers to take a more proactive approach to some protests. Today, the Mayor met senior government ministers to discuss the recent disruption, revealing that Transport for London were themselves looking to take out more injunctions to keep the roads clear. Jim Weeble, BBC London.